Hey guys, welcome back to my channel where I cover nostalgic, obscure, or otherwise strange content. Today is another rainy movie day. I have my tea, I'm in my pajamas, and we're gonna look at another Disney Channel movie today. We've been doing a lot of these, I know, but you guys keep requesting them, and I keep learning about new ones that I never saw as a kid, so I just have a lot of fun covering them. Also, I'm sorry my allergies are acting up again today, so sorry if I sound a little bit weird. The movie that we're looking at today is Don't Look Under the Bed. A lot of you guys have recommended this one, and I just watched this last night for the first time, so like, I know I'm always winging it, but like, we're really winging it today, so it's gonna be great. Get your movie-related gear together, snacks, drinks, blankets, and let's watch a movie.
Middleburg is a middle-sized town in the middle of the country. But sometimes, in my dreams, it felt like someplace else.
So the movie starts out with our main character, Frances Bacon something. Yes, her name is Frances Bacon.
My name is Frances Bacon McCausland.
She is giving a, like, kind of monologue about her town and how nothing ever happens there, but then strange stuff started happening there, which is kind of funny because, like, the whole of the story has really nothing to do with the town. Like, there's a lot of emphasis put on the town as, like, a specific place, and it really doesn't come into play at all, so. But anyway, I'm gonna keep going.
Frances? Frances, time to get up, honey.
That is actually one of the more clever shots I've seen them do, like, camera-wise, in these, like, Disney Channel movies. I actually was like, okay, you got me, movie. I'll give you a point for that. Oh god. We've already discussed how I feel about dolls. I don't like them, they're terrifying. But I do love how they use this terrifying shot of this one doll over and over again. You'll see what I mean, but like, as the movie goes on, just like, if you're drinking something, take a swig every time you see this exact shot of a doll. Okay? Just keep that in mind.
It's so dark.
Maybe the clocks are wrong.
I want to get a dog so he could eat the garbage and he can fetch the newspaper.
Dogs have germs.
Hey, you know what else has germs? Kids. Kids have germs. People have germs. Don't blame it on the dogs.
Oh, jeez, what happened to the eggs?
Aw, geez, all the eggs are gone.
It's 4:23 a.m.
The clocks say 7:23.
I told you it was the end of the world.
Well, actually, your correct prediction was that the clocks were wrong, not that it was the end of the world. So the whole family's up, exhausted, and trying to get ready to start their day, and then they're like, oh, all of our clocks are wrong. We have another 3 hours to sleep, and then they all go back to bed, which is rough, man. We now get a tiny glimpse of the being that set the clocks back. They're also trying to lure every dog in the neighborhood up on the roof. And I didn't notice this the first time, but they do that by, like, literally just opening up a big bag of dog treats. So, like, I thought at first that they would have, like, moved the dogs up to the roof, but no, they just were like, they just lured the dogs, and the dogs presumably jumped up by themselves.
Why don't you want to take the bus to school?
Joanne, nobody rides the bus to high school.
I don't think that's true. Definitely a lot of kids in high school ride the bus.
Bert does have another year after this, doesn't he?
Oh, why do you care when Bert graduates?
Did I tell you that our alarm clocks went off 3 hours early this morning?
Smooth, very smooth.
Maybe it was some kind of magnetic disturbance. You know, like a power surge.
Why would that make dogs get on the roof?
I was talking about the clocks being wrong.
Okay, but to be fair, the dogs being on the roof is a little bit more suspicious in my personal opinion. I would also be kind of caught up on dogs being up on the roof. So it's at this point that Frances notices this guy. We don't know who he is at this point in the movie, but we do know that Frances is apparently the only one who can see him.
Why is that guy staring at us?
What guy?
So the next thing in this series of things that goes wrong is that the biology teacher's car gets egged, and I mean, like, massively egged. Just laying siege to this poor car. Egg fallout. Meanwhile, Frances is doing research on the clocks being back 3 hours early. She's really caught up on that. She's actively doing research in the middle of biology, and she, like, interrupts the teacher to ask him if his clock also went off 3 hours early. She also notices the guy from before following her, but But she never can ask him, like, who he is or anything, because before she can talk to him, he disappears.
Who did this? Do you know anything about this, Francis?
And this is the first instance in the movie where Frances gets blamed for the weird goings-on. And I'm not exactly sure why at this point in the movie. It becomes, like, more and more obvious that somebody's framing her as time goes on. But at this point, this is the first weird thing that happened. And Frances was just standing around just like all the other kids. I don't know why he singled her out. But anyway.
What if a helicopter flew over so low that the dog thought it was a car and chased it right up the roof? That's a logical explanation, isn't it?
Sure, Joe.
I mean, it's not very far off from what actually happened. What actually happened was somebody lured the dog up with a dog treat and they chased that up onto the roof. So, like, it's not that crazy of an explanation, all things considered.
Have you got a crush on Bert?
No.
Yes, you do!
So Amber has a crush on Bert. That'll come up again later. Bert being Frances's older brother. So Frances sees this kid again, and she's like, hey, are you following me? And he's like, whoa, you can see me?
You can see me?
Well, yeah.
Someone put a little gelatin in a school swimming pool.
Okay, that's more than a little gelatin. How did you not see that before you went diving in? Like, that's very unfortunate for that girl. I don't mean to blame her, but how did she not know? And then bees attack the principal's office, and this lady back here, this extra, she just, like, walks out, and then they make her just, like, flail around instead of doing the logical thing, which would be to run back into the room where she just came. You know, the bee-free zone. Here's to all the extras and all the weird stuff directors make them do. They're the real MVPs. Yeah, so stuff's just going wrong everywhere. All over the place.
Nanook.
Those weren't words that he just said. Oh. There's the doll again.
I remember when I was 15.
She rolled a yard with toilet paper.
We were just discussing whether any...
So anyway, the parents are very academically minded, noted in the way that they named their children after Francis Bacon, Albert Einstein, and Charles Darwin. But anyway, they're hypothesizing that all of these pranks are the work of a crazy teenager.
It's just that studies of various cultures show that pranks like these are usually the work of adolescents.
Which, if that's true, it would have to be, like, a lot of teenagers, because, like, the whole town is experiencing, like, on this massive scale, all of these really, like, cumbersome to pull off pranks.
I was going to make my wiggly fruit thing for dinner tonight.
Well, I didn't take it.
See, Bert never once gets accused of being the person behind all this, and he seems the most suspicious to me personally, because anytime something comes up, he's the first one to be like, yo, I didn't do it,
Joe loves Bert?
Oof, that does look suspicious, Francis. I mean, I know you didn't do it, Francis, because I've seen this movie all the way through to the end. This is pretty damning, you know, when you look at it objectively. Subjectively? Objectively. Subjectively. So yeah, there's a monster running around town framing Francis for all of this crap, which, you know, when I was a kid, I definitely was afraid of, like, monsters under the bed and stuff, but I never was, like, worried that they were gonna frame me for strange incidences. Like, sure, I was always worried that, like, some nefarious, like, hand would come out from under my bed and you know, grab onto my foot or something, but, like, I was never worried that the Boogey Man would try to, like, frame me for tax evasion. That wasn't something I thought of when I was 3. I'm just saying, this is opening up the door for a lot of extra anxiety for younger children, I think.
School was even stranger.
Oh yeah, and I don't know what that was, why everybody was just standing there and then moved all at the same time. They never really explain what that was, because, like, everything else that's weird is, like, some kind of prank to, like, make Francis look like the bad guy, but I don't know what the point of that was.
Is there something interesting about my locker?
Why is yours the only one without a bee on it?
I mean, yeah, that looks really suspicious, but also this person framing Frances is like really going overboard. It's starting to make her look less suspicious. Like, who would purposefully make themselves look that guilty? She seems like a smart girl. I don't think she would do that.
Aren't you gonna run away this time?
So she finally talks to this guy. His name is Larry Houdini. And he tells her that she's truly the only person that can see him. Which is kind of funny because she spends this whole scene just kind of like having this very loud conversation with him, and at no point does anybody look at her and be like, that weird girl's just like yelling at the potatoes in the corner by herself. But anyway, after they trash talk each other's names...
It's better than being named after Francis Bacon. I don't like bacon.
Well, Houdini's not even a real name.
Turns out Larry here is an imaginary friend.
I'm not a real person. I'm an imaginary friend.
And moreover, he tells her that all of this stuff that's happening in town is the work of the Boogeyman. Who else?
I'm really sorry. Does anybody know who this guy is? Does anybody know who he really is?
Frances, for being so smart, is really a slow learner. Like, there's several times in this movie where she sees what's actually happening with Larry. Like, she understands before this point that nobody else can see him, but she's still willing to, like, get up on the chair and be like, does anybody know who this guy is? So now she gets pulled into the principal's office and they start asking her point blank, like, if she's responsible for all this stuff.
I see your middle name is Bacon. That is Bacon with a B, correct?
Well, I mean, your mother's best friend's sister's middle name is Beatrice, right? So that starts with a B. Kind of suspicious, don't you think?
You had that list of students you were checking with to make sure they set their clocks forward. It's like daylight savings time. Fall back, spring forward.
No, fall forward, spring back.
It's spring ahead and fall back. That just bothered me the first time I watched it, that she didn't know what daylight savings is. But daylight savings is weird and pointless anyway, so like, it's fair. You don't have to know about daylight savings, I guess. It's not that important. But anyway, then Frances sees Larry and she goes running after him, although she should definitely know at this point that nobody else could see him. And, you know, the principal and the other teachers, secretary, whatever they are in the school, they all go running after her.
Do you ever hear a little voice inside your head telling you should do something?
Actually, no.
Well, I did. And he told me to come to beautiful downtown Middleburg.
That's another thing. I don't think we ever find out exactly what that voice is. I could be wrong, but I don't think we do.
Why are you doing this to me? Why are you pretending that you can't see him?
So anyway, everybody thinks Frances is crazy. She's laying down outside the principal's office, and then this happens. Okay, that wasn't the doll shot, but it was the same shot, just with a different toy, so.
And you still think it was this boy, Larry, who put the gelatin in the swimming pool and threw the eggs on Mr. Kepler's car?
Eggs?
So yeah, everybody thinks Frances is guilty. Her parents are very suspicious of her. Poor Frances.
You know, she mentioned being hypnotized in the car on the way home.
Oh, by the way, she didn't.
And there are incidences of mass hypnosis that have occurred all over the world.
So her parents, the logical thinkers that they are, immediately turn to hypnosis as a reason why their child could be acting out. And right on cue, the older brother sits down and turns on the TV right as the dad's like, what could possibly be hypnotizing children? And I genuinely thought, because of the way that they timed it, that they were going to like go on this like, you know, parental outrage that like somehow TV was hypnotizing children. But they don't. But it's just like, I don't know why that shot was in there, because that's what it led me to believe from watching it. So she meets back up with Larry, and he's like, hey, we gotta go to the library and find a book.
You know, there is such a thing as a card catalog.
Why is that an overused trope? Like, every librarian I've ever known has been lovely. Shout out to you, librarians, and all the weird stuff that movies think you do. You're the real MVPs, too. So they find this book about the Boogeyman, Frances still really doesn't believe Larry, but she kind of goes along with it.
If you believe in, clap your hands. Say, poor Tinkerbell, clap your hands as hard as you can.
Okay, but they're being told to clap. That's not fair. So Larry's entertaining the kids. It's really cute. The librarian is really mad. And he tells the kids that if the boogeyman ever comes into their room, just pull the covers over their heads so that they can't be caught by the boogeyman. They seem excited about it. I would have been terrified as a kid if somebody told me that, like affirmed to me that the boogeyman was real. So because of the namesake of the movie, obviously he tells her that the boogeyman lives under your bed.
The boogeyman lives under your bed.
Of course. And so they go up to check under her bed. Well, she does. He disappears. But she goes upstairs to check, and then her parents start yelling at her, kind of. Well, her dad does. Her mom is, like, trying to be the good cop.
I'm going to invite her over to dinner tomorrow. She has experience dealing with problems like this. Besides, I have that roast I need to cook.
I love the dad. So funny. Oh, there it is again. There's the doll again.
Okay, it says here there's this thing called temperafuge that can make a boogeyman harmless.
So Larry's telling Frances about this thing that he can build to stop the boogeyman. Darwin, the little brother, comes in, and Larry's very confused because Darwin can't see him, and he's supposed to be Darwin's imaginary friend.
Hey man, don't you recognize me?
And it turns out that he can't see him because Frances told him that imaginary friends weren't real, so Darwin stops believing imaginary friends early, and Larry's very upset, as he should be.
No, he needs to believe in his doctors, okay?
You wanted to help him? Then why didn't you give him some of your bone marrow, huh?
Oh yeah, and this is where we really get into the nitty-gritty of, like, this backstory about Frances and her family. See, Darwin is in remission from leukemia. And the older brother, back when he was going through treatment, was the one who donated bone marrow. And Larry, like, throws it in Frances's face that she didn't give him any bone marrow, which, you know, he got the bone marrow. He's fine now, I'm pretty sure. And it is just funny to be like, psh, come on, Frances, you don't need all that bone marrow. And she's like, no, I tried, but the doctor said I couldn't give bone marrow because it wasn't a good match. And he's just like, selfish, you're a bad big sister. And there it is again. That doll. I'm gonna see it in my dreams tonight too, I'm sure. So next night, Boogeyman makes another theatrical entrance, and Frances and Larry go outside to try to stop him. Only Larry is the one who can really, like, communicate with the Boogeyman at this point, though. I'm not entirely sure why, but that's just how it plays out. The Boogeyman is up on the roof putting up Christmas lights. An ungodly amount of Christmas lights. We also get our first full-on glimpse of him. He is quite an interesting character. He talks in rhyme, and he apparently is in the process of turning Larry into a Boogeyman as well.
And you'll see that new boogie, too. Inside of the mirror. It's you.
Very bad times for Larry. And because of all the Christmas lights, the whole town has a blackout, and they blame Frances, and, like, the media swarms their family home, which is not only scientifically improbable, but I think it's just completely overreacting on their part.
This is our house on the front page of the paper. We've got TV reporters outside right now.
How does she not know? Like, there's media swarming their home, yelling outside their front door. There's apparently helicopters flying around.
If I can quote your friend Joanne. Well, former friend, thanks to the boogeyman.
Ouch, too soon. So Larry's basically building this thing that will spray a bunch of goo on the boogeyman, and then it will make the boogeyman age, and then he'll die. Strange plan, but I don't see anybody else coming up with a better plan. But he's also rapidly turning into a boogeyman now, so he's kind of running out of time, so they've got to figure out what to do quickly.
Oh, is that a zit? Girl, you need to take care of your skin.
Okay, but some of us get zits even though we're constantly trying to take care of our skin. I don't feel called out or personally attacked. Actually, I'm breaking out today just in time to make that joke. So the next night, for some reason, the parents have invited the school secretary. I think she's the school secretary. One of the school representatives of some kind. They invite her over for dinner for parental trying to help their daughter reason. Of course, while that's happening, Larry is actively using the kitchen to just cook up this grossness. Like, he's put a gym sock in the blender. It's very horrifying. And of course, the mom comes in and Francis gets blamed for this too.
Get out. Get out.
I don't understand why Larry had to hide in the pot. Francis is the only one that can see him.
That looks like Bert's gym sock.
Ugh. So this poor lady has been, like, accidentally poisoned by gym sock, apparently. And Larry's turning into a boogeyman because boogeymen were all imaginary friends that had their kids stop believing in them too soon. So this one might actually be Francis's fault. So they kick poor Darwin out of his own room. And then Darwin is in Francis's room and he just straight up gets abducted by the boogeyman.
Oh, he's really...
It must be after his soul. It's got boogie goo on it. You didn't see him on the roof last night?
All I saw was you and a lot of blinky lights.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why she can't see the boogeyman, but she could see Larry. I'm not actually sure why she can see Larry either. That's never really explained. But Larry ventures into the world underneath Francis's bed to go and get Darwin back, and Francis is about to follow him when her dad comes in and starts asking her questions.
I am not leaving here until I hear the truth.
It was the boogeyman.
Maybe you would be more comfortable speaking with your mother about this.
He lost his resolve really quickly. I'm not leaving here until I hear the truth. Okay, Dad, here's the truth. Oh, well, you'll probably want to speak with your mother about this. But anyway, Francis makes it into the special underworld place. She almost dies, but then doesn't. Anyway, they ride on this fun-looking go-kart thing, and then they find Darwin, eventually.
Where am I, Francis? Francis!
But uh-oh, here comes the rhyming boogeyman.
It's centrifuge time.
Gotcha.
Larry tries to use his invention to kill the boogeyman. It doesn't work because the power cord got unplugged. Even in this world of make-believe, we still need electricity to power our electronics, I guess.
Your extension cord has come uncurled. And now you're powerless in Boogie World.
Makes enough sense.
Do you think I look a little strange?
And also, uh-oh, Larry is an actual boogeyman now, so Francis is kind of on her own at this point.
Darwin, can you hear me? Yeah. Hey, Darwin, if you still believe in Larry, clap your hands, okay?
Stop it.
So she starts yelling to Darwin that he needs to believe that she was wrong. He needs to believe in, you know, imaginary friends and boogeymen. And then she just full-on rips off Peter Pan by telling him to clap if he believes. And I just love this clip of the boogeyman just like being like, no, stop it. But anyway, Darwin believes in Larry again, so now Larry isn't a boogeyman and he can help Francis. They try the invention one more time. It still doesn't work. I'm not entirely sure why it didn't work the second time, but it doesn't work. But then Francis realizes that the boogeyman is actually her old imaginary friend that she stopped believing in early. Plot twist.
Zoe.
And actually, it's not a boogeyman at all. It's a female boogeyman. It's a boogie person. It's a boogie person, I guess. So wait, why do all boogeymen have to be male? Why wasn't she a female boogie woman? Boogie person. I don't know. I have a lot of questions. So they all get back. Everything is good now. There are no more boogeymen.
Person.
And the parents are just like, oh, we've realized that you couldn't be responsible for all this stuff because it started happening one town over, which is nice that they finally believe their daughter when she's innocent. But also, there was some pretty damning evidence, so, like, I would still have some problems, like, waving that away as her parent, not knowing what's actually going on. But anyway, all's well that ends well.
Are you okay, Francis? We heard a strange noise.
Vacuuming. Under the bed.
You didn't change the bag first?
It's also like a completely broken down vacuum cleaner, dude.
I'm glad I can believe in you again.
I believe in you too, Francis.
Oh, that's cute. So the two imaginary friends go off to fight another boogeyman the next town over. And they tell Francis that she's never going to see them again. Very sad.
Only real friends last forever, like Joanne.
Oh yeah, I didn't mention this when I was filming, but it's funny because, like, she's like, wow, real friends like Joanne are really important, right? And it's just like, yeah, thanks a lot for making Joanne hate me now. She has this cute heart-to-heart with her little brother.
I'm worried about getting sick again.
Have you talked to Larry about it?
He said you could help me.
And then we see that the imaginary friends are still keeping an eye on them, and that's the end of the movie. Yay, happy endings. I'm really glad that people kept recommending this one over and over again because it's another one that I never saw. I don't know how. I've missed out on all of these DCOMs because I watched a lot of them as a kid, but I don't know, I never saw this one and I actually pretty well enjoyed it. That was a sentence, that wasn't a sentence. I always love when you guys recommend things for me to cover because it just allows me to like broaden my horizons on this channel way more than I could on my own. So thank you guys. Thank you, as always, for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, sharing, anything and everything you do to support this channel. As I always say, means the absolute world to me. You guys send me the sweetest comments and brighten my day, and I just am really, really grateful for all of your support and kindness. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. If you're new here and you're a fan of nonsense, maybe consider sticking around because I post nonsense all the time. And remember, my name is Avery. I'm a YouTuber if you say so, because thanks to you guys, this is technically a YouTube channel. Bye. I've got to go take some Benadryl.